Welcome back to Stamps Old World UK, the home for every passionate philatelist and vintage stamp collector around the globe. Today, we are going deep into the fascinating world of stamp values, and more importantly, what the stamp market looks like in today's economy, especially in terms of real dollar value. Whether you're a beginner with a few old envelopes or an advanced collector with boxes of vintage rarities, this video is going to reveal everything you need to know about what your stamps might be worth today. Get comfortable, because we're about to explore the past, present, and potential future of postage stamps in the collector's market. In recent years, the stamp collecting hobby has seen a fascinating evolution. While many believed the digital age would slowly cause the interest in stamps to vanish, the reality is quite different. Interest in old and rare stamps has surged, especially as more collectors turn toward physical, tangible assets with historic value. The demand for classic US, UK, and European stamps from the 19th and early 20th centuries has steadily increased. For example, certain U.S. stamps such as the 4-cent Martha Washington stamp, like the one you see on screen, have gained renewed attention due to their historical significance and elegant engravings. These stamps, once ordinary postal items, are now appreciated as works of art and valuable investments. The value of a stamp today depends heavily on a few key factors: rarity, condition, age, print error, and historical importance. A stamp in mint condition, meaning it's unused with full gum on the back, will always fetch a higher price than one that is cancelled or torn. Perforation quality, centering, and color clarity also affect valuation. For example, the Martha Washington 4-cent brown stamp, which was first issued in the early 20th century, can range from $1 to over $50 depending on its condition and whether it's mint or used. A perfectly centered, mint-condition specimen might even reach prices over $100 among collectors who seek pristine examples. Looking across the global stamp market today in July 2025, we're seeing a continued trend where specific categories are commanding higher prices. British Victorian-era stamps, for instance, remain in very high demand, especially those with Queen Victoria's profile and the famous penny black and penny red issues. Meanwhile, in the United States, collectors are particularly interested in stamps from the Washington Franklin series, rare airmail issues like the inverted Jenny, and pre-1900 commemorative stamps. Recent auctions have seen U.S. stamps from the early 1900s, in fine to superb condition, sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on demand and rarity. European stamps from countries like Germany, France, and Italy, especially from the wartime and occupation periods, are also attracting attention in the international stamp scene. A stamp from the German Empire or a colonial issue from the French Republic can now easily command between $20 to $500 depending on historical relevance and scarcity. Scandinavian stamps from Denmark, Norway, and Sweden are another niche category gaining momentum in 2025. Many collectors appreciate these for their clean designs and limited print runs. As interest grows, prices climb steadily, offering promising returns for those who hold rare examples. In addition to classic and rare stamps, error stamps have always fascinated the collector's market and continue to skyrocket in value. A small misprint, missing color, inverted design, or wrong denomination can turn an otherwise ordinary stamp into a treasure. Recently, error stamps have been known to sell for thousands of dollars, especially if they are from well-known printings and are recognized by stamp catalogs like Scott, Stanley Gibbons, and Michel. For instance, a simple color shift in a common 5-cent stamp can result in values 100 times its normal price if the error is dramatic and unique. Let's now talk about digital auctions and online stamp sales, which are playing a huge role in shaping the modern stamp market. Websites like eBay, Delcamp, and Hipstamp have become major platforms for collectors to buy, sell, and research stamp values. A quick look at recent listings shows vintage U.S. stamps from the 1920s to 1950s consistently selling between $5 to $200, especially when certified or listed as rare issues. Stamps from the British Commonwealth, including India, Australia, and Canada, also remain in strong demand. A George V or George VI definitive in mint condition, for example, can be worth far more than its original face value and even surpass $100 depending on demand. Another significant development in the 2025 stamp market is the increasing number of stamp grading services and professional appraisers. Just like coins and comic books, stamps can now be professionally graded, encapsulated, and sold with a certificate of authenticity. These services offer a great advantage to collectors who want to ensure their item is legitimate and accurately valued. Having a rare stamp that is officially graded as XF Superb 95 or higher by a service like the Professional Stamp Experts, PSE, can dramatically increase its resale value and buyer confidence. Investment in rare stamps is also becoming more mainstream as part of the broader collectibles market. As traditional assets like stocks and crypto fluctuate, many investors are turning to tangible collectibles that hold intrinsic historical and cultural value. Rare stamps, along with vintage coins, art, and historical manuscripts, are being recognized as alternative assets that not only preserve wealth but also tell a story of the past. This means stamp values in dollars today aren't just tied to how old or rare they are, but also how desirable they are to collectors and investors around the world. For those of you wondering whether your own stamp collection has any hidden gems, the answer is simple: do your research, catalog your items, and consider getting them appraised. Start by looking up your stamp in a current stamp catalog, compare it with online listings and auctions, and take note of its condition. Even common stamps, when found in perfect shape or as part of a complete set, can surprise you with their value. Don't overlook stamps from the mid-20th century either. Many of these are gaining value now due to increased demand and declining supply in mint condition. To wrap up, the stamp market in 2025 is alive, growing, and thriving with opportunity. Whether you collect out of passion, historical interest, or investment purpose, there has never been a better time to dive deeper into the world of philately. From the classic designs of the early 1900s to the commemorative issues of the 1960s and 70s, stamps continue to hold stories, beauty, and surprising value. As we've seen, your old stamps, whether from the United States, United Kingdom, Europe, or beyond, could be worth far more than you think in today's collector market in US dollars. So take out those old albums, inspect those dusty boxes, and you just might find a treasure waiting to be rediscovered. Next up, the most iconic figures in American history, Abraham Lincoln, and the stunning 4-cent US postage stamp that honors his legacy. The Lincoln stamp you see on screen is more than just a piece of paper. It's a slice of national memory, a work of engraved art, and for collectors, a potentially valuable item in the ever-evolving stamp market. Whether you're here out of curiosity or you're a seasoned collector hoping to uncover the worth of this black ink classic, this video will walk you through everything you need to know about the 4-cent Lincoln stamp's origins, significance, and current value in dollars. The Abraham Lincoln 4-cent stamp was issued in the mid-20th century by the United States Postal Service as a tribute to the 16th president, who led the nation through the Civil War and helped to abolish slavery. Designed in a striking black monochrome style, the stamp captures a side profile of Lincoln with intense detail, set against a backdrop of horizontal lines that almost resemble a carved wood texture. Its simple yet powerful design reflects Lincoln's humble roots and enduring influence. The stamp was widely used during its time, which means millions were printed, but not all were preserved in good condition. And as any stamp expert will tell you, condition is everything. So what is this stamp worth today in dollars? The answer, as with most collectibles, depends on several key factors. The most common version of the 4-cent Lincoln stamp, especially if used and bearing cancellation marks, may only be worth around 20 to 50 cents. These were widely circulated and used for everyday mail, so they are not rare in general circulation. However, if you have a mint condition version, one that has never been used and still has its original gum, the value can be higher, ranging between $1 and $5. A perfectly centered, never hinged specimen with sharp perforations and deep, unblemished black ink could command a premium, with rare examples reaching values of $10 to $20 or more in collector auctions. But the real treasures come from the uncommon versions of this stamp, those with production errors, color shifts, or unique print variations. Error stamps are highly collectible, and even a minor variation, like a misaligned design, an ink smudge, or a missing detail, can push the value up dramatically. A genuine 4-cent Lincoln stamp with a major printing flaw might be worth anywhere between $50 and $500 depending on its uniqueness and demand in the philatelic market. These error stamps are often authenticated and graded by professional services, and having certification can boost their desirability and selling price. Another important point to consider is the historical context and appeal of Abraham Lincoln himself. As one of the most respected American presidents, stamps bearing his image continue to have strong collector interest not only in the United States but internationally. Collectors in the UK, Europe, and across the Commonwealth often seek US presidential issues to complete their worldwide or thematic collections. This international demand adds another layer of value to stamps like the 4-cent Lincoln, especially when sold through global auction sites or international philatelic exhibitions. In the broader stamp market of July 2025, we are seeing a steady resurgence in interest toward mid-20th century American stamps. Collectors are rediscovering the artistic value and historical resonance of stamps from the 1940s through the 1970s, and the Lincoln 4-cent stamp fits right into that trend. While it may not be a million-dollar rarity like the inverted Jenny, it holds consistent value and is highly sought after by those building U.S. historical or presidential collections. And for those new to stamp collecting, it serves as a beautiful, affordable entry point into the rich tapestry of American postal history. It's also important to talk about how to preserve and evaluate your stamp properly if you're considering selling or insuring it. First, always keep stamps in acid-free sleeves or stock books to avoid damage. Never tape or glue a stamp to any surface, as this immediately devalues it. Use tongs or tweezers to handle stamps, especially mint-condition ones, as oils from your fingers can stain or weaken the paper. If you believe your Lincoln stamp is particularly valuable, consider getting it graded by a professional philatelic service. Certification not only authenticates your stamp but also significantly increases its credibility and selling power in the marketplace. So as we conclude today's episode, remember this: the Abraham Lincoln 4-cent stamp might seem like just another old piece of mail at first glance, but behind its simple design lies a world of historical meaning, collector interest, and potential monetary value. Whether you found it in an old drawer, inherited it from a grandparent, or picked it up at a flea market, it deserves a closer look. It's a tribute to one of history's greatest leaders and a tangible piece of the past that still commands attention today. With the right knowledge and care, even this small black and white stamp could prove to be a rewarding asset in your collection. Next up, the 4-cent Andrew Jackson stamp. This iconic piece of philatelic history isn't just another old stamp, it's a symbol of 19th century American identity, leadership, and the artistry of classical engraving. As we journey into the details of this remarkable issue, we'll explore its origins, design intricacies, historical relevance, and current market value in US dollars. So if you're holding onto one of these blue-green beauties or simply intrigued by the stories stamps can tell, stay tuned. This deep dive is packed with everything a collector needs to know. The 4-cent Andrew Jackson stamp was first introduced in the late 1800s as part of a regular issue of definitive stamps known to collectors as the banknote issues, produced by the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. Andrew Jackson, known as the People's President, served as the 7th President of the United States from 1829 to 1837. His image on this stamp represents a bold, resolute figure with a firm jawline and classic presidential profile, rendered in detailed line engraving that was characteristic of the period's stamp production. The rich blue-green ink gives the stamp a regal and trustworthy aura, while the typography and surrounding scroll work display the ornate style popular during that era. This stamp wasn't just a means to send letters, it was a daily reminder of American leadership, history, and national pride. In terms of printing, this particular issue saw multiple reprintings and exists in a variety of paper types, gum finishes, perforation measurements, and minor design alterations. These variations are extremely important when evaluating its value today. Some versions were printed on soft porous paper, others on hard paper, and there are differences in watermark and gum that distinguish one issue from another. The earliest issues without grill marks or with fine grill impressions are often more valuable, especially if they remain unused. What might seem like the same stamp to the untrained eye could have drastically different valuations depending on these small but crucial details. So if you have a 4-cent Andrew Jackson stamp, the first step is identifying which version it is by consulting reliable stamp catalogs such as the Scott Catalog or specialized banknote issue references. As of today, in July 2025, the stamp market remains vibrant and competitive, with classic U.S. issues like this Andrew Jackson stamp retaining strong demand among collectors. A used version of this stamp in average condition may sell for as little as $1 to $5 depending on wear, cancellation clarity, and centering. However, a mint version with original gum can be significantly more valuable. Mint condition examples, especially those with perfect perforations and well-centered designs, typically range in value from $20 to $100. Exceptionally fine specimens that are never hinged and certified by a professional grading service like PSE or PF can command even higher prices, sometimes reaching over $300 or more depending on rarity and auction demand. If your stamp has an identifiable variety, such as a rare grill pattern or a rare shade of green-blue ink, its value can increase substantially. Furthermore, it's not uncommon to find rare versions of this stamp that contain minor yet valuable printing anomalies or errors. These include shifted centers, double transfers, inking variations, or even misperforated edges. While such errors are rare, when found in the Andrew Jackson 4-cent issue, they can turn an already valuable stamp into a prized collector's item worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Just one error or unique characteristic can make all the difference. Serious collectors often rely on expertising services and magnification tools to detect such subtle yet profitable features. For this reason, even common-looking Andrew Jackson stamps are worth inspecting carefully under a collector's loupe or microscope. In addition to its monetary value, the historical appeal of the Andrew Jackson stamp adds emotional and educational weight for philatelists. Jackson remains a polarizing yet towering figure in American history, celebrated by some for expanding democratic participation and criticized by others for his controversial policies. Regardless of viewpoint, he left an indelible mark on the American presidency. This makes the stamp more than a collectible, it is a portal to the complex and fascinating political landscape of early 19th century America. Collecting stamps like this isn't just about profit, it's about preservation, interpretation, and connection to the past. Each stamp is a document of national heritage, captured in miniature form and distributed around the world. It's also worth noting that international collectors, including many right here in the UK and Europe, are highly interested in classic American presidential stamps. For philatelists outside the United States, a stamp like the 4-cent Andrew Jackson is an essential part of building a comprehensive world or thematic collection. It fits into broader themes such as world leaders, classic engravings, or 19th century America. That global interest continues to fuel demand and ensures that stamps like these will always have a place in auctions, shows, and private collections. It also keeps the value stable in US dollars, making them a reliable collectible in a market that appreciates both history and craftsmanship. When it comes to selling or protecting your 4-cent Andrew Jackson stamp, the key is presentation and authentication. Always store stamps in climate-controlled conditions, preferably in acid-free albums or mounts that prevent exposure to light and humidity. If you suspect your stamp has significant value, getting it professionally appraised or graded can dramatically boost your selling power. Certification also provides buyers with confidence and can sometimes double the price you receive at sale. Online platforms such as eBay, Hipstamp, and Delcamp regularly host listings for this stamp, with some auctions exceeding expected values due to competitive bidding. In conclusion, the Andrew Jackson 4-cent stamp is not just a collector's item, it is a statement of historical resonance, artistic merit, and enduring value. It captures a moment in time when stamps were more than functional, they were symbolic and beautifully crafted. Whether your interest lies in American history, rare philatelic issues, or simply the aesthetics of vintage postage, this stamp represents the perfect blend of all three. And in today's collector market, it continues to be appreciated not only for its monetary value in US dollars, which can range from a few dollars to several hundred, but also for its place in the wider story of postage and politics. Thank you once again for joining us here at Stamps Old World UK. If this deep dive into the Andrew Jackson 4-cent stamp has inspired you, educated you, or simply entertained you, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another episode. We'll be exploring many more historic stamps from the US, UK, Europe, and beyond in upcoming videos. So stay curious, keep collecting, and remember, every stamp is a storyteller, and the more you learn, the more valuable your collection becomes.